Welcome back, everybody. Driver53 here with another short video of precision farming in Farming Simulator 19. And today we're going to be looking at the effects of nitrogen on poplars. We've got a lot of different nitrogen levels here in the ground, and we've got crops planted in every single step that you could do. And we're going to see if you can over or under fertilize here. So let me go ahead and show you the map. So these are the soil types that we have. We've got loam here in the gray, silty clay in the darker, we've got sandy loam, and then loamy sand. So with poplars, you're going to need, for optimal levels of nitrogen, for loam, it's 180 kilograms per hectare. For sandy loam, it's going to be 160 points. For silty clay, it's 140. And for loamy sand, it's 120. So we'll see that here, where that stacks up on this field. So let's take a look at the pH. The pH levels are all good all the way across. We've made sure that we optimized those for each soil type before we did this test. They look a little bit off because of the discoloration, because I've done multiple harvests, but they all are right where they need to be. So if I show you the 6.5 right here, it all goes away, even though there are different shades of it, but it's all good. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is our nitrogen levels. And as you can see, I've got everything from 20, which is right here, all the way up to 200, which is going to be right here. I've also got a row of 0 out here on the outside, so that we're going to be able to have that as a baseline also. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and jump back over here, and we're going to harvest this, and then I'll be back and I'll show you guys all the results and we'll go over it a little bit. So here we go. Alright, we got everything off the field except this one guy right here. I don't honestly know how it happened, but we missed this one guy right here. So let's go ahead and jump over to the maps. So once again, these are the soil types that we have. This is the pH. You can see that we have 11 different strips taken out here, and those are the 11 different strips that we had, from 20 to 200 plus a 0. Next to the nitrogen, you can see that every step along the way we have a darker color, and that's where I did the harvest at, all the way up through. So now let's go ahead and take a look at our yield, and here it is. So remember, we do have one strip up here also in the 0, and it's kind of difficult to see because of the other harvests that were going on, but it is faint, and hopefully we do a good job of capturing it here as we go through it. So the first thing I want to do is talk about loam, and that's going to be from your 8 to the 9 here, and we know that the target nitrogen level here is 180, so right here is our target level. So let's go ahead and hit the 125%. As you can see, it's like 3.5. But the really interesting thing is if I turn off 115 and I turn 125 back on, it actually shows up more for 125 than it does the 115. So we're going to go ahead and call that one a 125. So at 125%, we have 200 kilograms per hectare, 180, 160, and 140. So next, if I come to the 115 and we turn off the 110, you can see right here we only have one more, and that's going to be at 120 kilograms per hectare. So if I turn on the 110, you can see this right here, and we're going to go ahead and call this one 100 kilograms and 80 kilograms also, because if I turn the 105 on, it doesn't show up a whole lot in there, so we're gonna go ahead and give it a 110 just to make it feel really comfortable. So at 110 we've got 100, and we also have the 80. So at 105, this is what we're looking at here, and that's going to be our 60 kilograms per hectare. And it's so odd the way that all these are kind of blending in together, and I think what it's doing is it's getting a little bit of bleed from the other soil types, and it kind of depended on the direction that I was going with the harvest. So it's really interesting that you can see kind of that much difference within the soil type, because I mean everything is exactly the same across that whole swath. And it could also have been that I was trying to pick up 3 different rows of poplar. I wanted it wide enough so you guys could see what was going on here. And I could have been getting something where the planter sometimes was like 3 rows wide in the actual strip, because there was 3 big rows and then there were 3 individual plants in each one of the rows. Sometimes it would get out to 4. So I think that's where I might be getting just a little bit more, because it was like, oh, I got more here than I was supposed to. So, but at 105, we're going to go ahead and call that at 60 kilograms per hectare. So next we have 100 here. And as you can see, 100 is going to be for our 40 and our 20. And then at 95, all the way at the very top up here by the 9, we're going to go ahead and call 0 is going to give you 95% yield. So once again on this one, absolute worst you're going to get is 95% on loam if you don't use any fertilizer at all. So now, let's go to sandy loam. And at sandy loam, our target nitrogen is 160. So that is going to be right here on this strip. So let's turn off our 95. And as you can see, once again, it's the top 4. So really interesting here that even at 180 and 160, you're still getting the same number of strips, right? You're getting down to 160 here, and on loam, you're getting down to 160, even though there's a 20-point difference on the recommended optimal nitrogen level. So with this one, we're going to have the 200, the 180, the 160, and the 140 again. So at 95%, this is what we have here. And we know that this strip was already counted at 125. So we're going to count this one here at the 120 and the 100 level are both going to be 95%. So at 90%, now we have the 80 kilograms and, oh yeah, so just this one strip right here. Because if I turn 85 on and I turn this off, you can see that this row here actually shows more for 85. So we're going to throw it at 85. So back to 90 really quickly. This strip right here is going to be our 80 kilograms per hectare. Now at 85%, you can see here we have our 60 kilograms, our 40 kilograms, and even our 20 kilograms per hectare are all going to be at 85%. And then we're going to finish off with 80%, which is going to be all the way up here at the top, 0. So you're going to go all the way from 80 to 100 on this. If you put nothing in the ground, you are going to get that 80. And if you go all the way fully maxed out on fertilizer, you can get all the way up to 100 still. So don't be afraid to over fertilize on sandy loam here. I don't think you're going to be hurt at all. There's no penalty for going over, just under. So next we're going to go to silty clay, and we're going to look at 90% because that is the maximum you're going to be able to get on silty clay. And the target nitrogen level is 140 on this one. Actually, I said it was 140 on this one. So what you're going to get is, once again, the top 4 rows are going to be 90%. So your 200, your 180, 160, and your 140. So really, really interesting here that all 3 soil types, the top 4 nitrogen levels, you're all going to have the max yield for that soil type, even though they are 3 different nitrogen levels. You got 180, 160, then 140. So really interesting there. So the next thing we're going to look at is 85% here on silty clay. And if we look at this, we can see that we have 3 strips here. I'm sorry. Yes, 3 strips here. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes also just to make sure, because some of this I had to go back and forth and double check a couple times, so I wrote it all down. So on this one, you have your 120, the 100, and the 80 are all coming in at 85%. So next we have 80%. And at 80%, we only have our 60, which is this strip right here. Now at 75%, right here, we're going to have our 40, the 20, and even the 0 up here at the top. You can see it had just a little bit of a splatter of 70, and I think that's from where I wasn't picking up a whole lot. Alright, so on Silty Clay, the absolute worst you're going to get yield-wise is 75%. So 75% to 90, it's only a 15-point spread if you don't want to put anything in the ground at all for nitrogen. So now let's finish off on loamy sand down here on this one. And whenever we click 80, you're going to see it is a lot. The top 6 nitrogen levels all are at 80%. So that's 200, 180, 160, 140, 120, and 100 are all coming in at 80. So there's absolutely no penalty for going over on fertilizer if you do. I mean, I think some of these crops that don't have penalties like this, if you accidentally do it, just throw a crop in there that doesn't have it. It's going to take nitrogen out for you, bring it back down to a level that you need it to be for your next crop. You might have to lease some equipment, but I think it'd be better to maybe make a full yield on it than have a penalty on some of the ones that you would have a penalty on. So next we're going to go ahead and take a look at 75% yield. So at 75%, you're going to have 80 and 60 kilograms per hectare right here. And one of these is the one with the lake. So on this side of it and this side of it, you can see it. So disregard that middle. That is where the pH level is out of control. So follow that up with 70%. And I know it's getting complicated because there's not a whole lot of other stuff on the map right now. But at 70%, you're going to have your 40 and the 20 and the 0. So let me go ahead and I will put this back up here so you guys can see this is what we're dealing with. So you can see this strip right here was our sandy loam. If I come up 95, you can see that this strip right here was our loam that we registered in at on our loam at 95%. And if you carry it on down, that's right here where you're going to get your 70. And obviously these two strips down here. So loamy sand, 70% is going to be your 0, 20, and your 40. And that's it, everybody. I mean, poplar seems like a decent one. You're not going to get a penalty for being over on the fertilizer at all. So that's going to be it, everybody. If you enjoyed the video or learned something today, if you would, go and give me a thumbs up. And if you want to be kept up to date on all my future precision farming videos or any other video that I have for any of my other series or map tours or anything like that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And while you're there, go ahead and hit the notification bell too, because I am putting out a couple videos a day some days. Have a great day, everybody. Until next time, this is Driver 53, signing off.